Hello, everyone. Welcome to your weekly astrological forecast. This one, we are going from Monday, November 11th. And thank you to all veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service. We are so indebted to you, or at least I feel we are. I'm sure everyone does, but except for Trump. Anyway, I need to put it out there right away that I'm not a Trump supporter of any type, and so if you are, I'm not the channel for you. You'll have to go elsewhere. Mine is a fight for justice here, justice and independence and autonomy and inclusion. So if you are a Trump supporter and you're okay with that, I'll include you. Okay, all right, but no bashing my viewers here with comments at all. Okay, so we're going to go from the 11th to the 17th, Monday through the following Sunday. This week is, well, we have Venus moving into Capricorn, Saturn goes direct, and then we have the full moon in Taurus, and then right after that, it within hours, it bumps up against Uranus. So let me grab my chopstick over here and get going. Okay, so I left all the aspects in, or standard aspects in, but you can see this yod here. Okay, I want to talk about that first. Actually, let's do this. Let's go to the tight. Okay, now you can see it more clearly. These are the exact aspects for today. The other ones are, they're in the background, so I'll talk about that. But for Monday morning, if you're short on time and you want to come back and listen later to the rest, what you're going to need to know for Monday morning, have it set for 4 a.m. Pacific. We have this yod coming from Chiron in Aries with an opportunistic sextile over to Jupiter. We're still learning about something. I don't know. Are the votes even counted by this next Monday all the way? I mean, it's just, oh my goodness. And then we have these two quincunxes adjusting aspects to the sun. The sun at 19 degrees of Scorpio is now in the third decan, or just about the third decan, just another 30 minutes and or so. Yeah, we'll be into the, actually into the third decan, but we're at that nth degree of learning lessons. So maybe it is today that we get all the votes are counted in, or they say that they're counted. I can't really say for sure because I think there are overseas votes, military and otherwise, that are still coming in, and they have to be counted, and then they have to be certified first and then counted. So the process can take some time, but for the most part, with the moon squaring Jupiter, I don't think we're going to like what we learn. Jupiter in Gemini is about learning. The moon in Pisces is like, oh no, right? I mean, sometimes it can be all over the place. And the moon has just crossed over Saturn, so things have gotten very, very serious, over the weekend. And here we are Monday morning, just like, oh. And the trine to the sun brings in some more information quickly. The sun is the spotlight. In Scorpio, we can be feeling very, very betrayed and wondering, is there anybody that is going to do something about this before it's too late? I mean, it's already partly too late because they have both. Well, Biden's made an announcement saying that he's honoring the vote. I mean, they have to say that, right? They can't. We don't dare say that there was any cheating or anything going on because, oh no, then we won't have any faith in our elections. But meanwhile, On X, there was a dramatic, I'm quoting, I think she said dramatic drop. I think those were the words she used. I get Heather Cox Richardson's newsletter. I get it, I read it in the mornings, comes in late at night. And she said that there was a dramatic drop of users, followers on X. And they thought it was because bots were gone. They had left. Russian bots. Who do you think is in the deepest cahoots with Putin besides Trump? Well, same guy that owns X. So there's that. And then the other thing that she was talking about, which is very wounding and traumatizing, well, it depends. I don't know. It just makes me pissed. I like to punch him in the face, actually. This is the kind of guy that I would. Nick Fuentes said, "Your body, my choice, period, forever." And then went on to say something about men controlling legally. Now men get to legally control women's bodies. Really? The fuck you will. God, what an idiot. So, okay, there's that. And then there's this other dude that was funded by Russia saying that it was like his honor or something to let us all know. I'm not on Twitter, so I wouldn't, or X. I got off of there when I first heard about the whistleblower, or heard from the whistleblower in Congress. That was, I don't know, a long time ago, maybe a year and a half or so. And I was never really active on it anyway, but this guy said that he wanted to let us all know that Project 2025 was real the whole time. Now they're not going to hide it anymore. Yeah, we knew that. So, I mean, and we know that racism and sexism is what happened. I mean, we know that that's what brought in all these votes. I just wonder how many they were paid. I suspect, I'm going to do a card reading on it, but I really suspect that Elon found a way to buy a bunch of votes to get people to, Of course, then, but that's the thing is, nobody gets the right to, I mean, you can't see. No one can ever see your votes. But if people are gullible enough to think that you can, then, and if he offered them like some cryptocurrency or actual cash under the table kind of a thing, meet up for the day, whatever, and they say they'll vote. I wonder if something like that happened. It's kind of hard for me to believe that there have been this level of I'm dumbfounded with the thought that there are that many gullible people that would vote against their own best interest. Right? All these people of color. But then I look to, let me get back to the standard aspects. I look to the sun shining, the light on this whole stellium over here, right? We've got an approaching stellium, an approaching trine to Neptune here with the sun. The sun all week long will be in an approaching trine to Neptune. But today it's exact on the moon, and last week it was exact on Saturn. So, and then coming from Mars up here to Neptune as well. So all of this spells to me that with Neptune and Pisces, now we're going to see the betrayal, Sun in Scorpio. And the betrayal by masses of people who wanted to belong, just belong. And add in Chiron in Aries to exacerbate that feeling. And with Saturn in Pisces, what we have is a government, Saturn government, that will victimize them. I mean, if we allow it. But how are we supposed to fight for them when they chose this? Right? I mean, what are we supposed to do? I mean, the good side, the beautiful side of Chiron in Aries, and especially conjunct, joined with Eris in Aries, we're talking the feminine counterpart of Pluto and the feminine struggle for equality. And with Chiron in Aries here, and all this, is ruled by Mars. We fight. We could be in an era where there are a lot of pioneers, Aries pioneers, that come in service to humanity. I don't know about a lot of babies being born at this time, but if they would be to be born with this set up here in your chart. You would be, I would think, ass kicking. Sorry about all my cussing this time. Pioneer it could be in service to humanity, because pretty soon, just on the 19th, Pluto moves into Aquarius. But we do have the dark side of Aquarius. And so with this yod, this finger of fate, moving to the pointing, coming from the sun, and then we have this opportunity to learn more. But the more we learn, maybe the more we're saddened. Maybe we're having trouble, because we're talking existence. With Aries, it has to do with people being able to exist, to have the right to exist and grow. And with the full moon, the moon will soon to be over here and opposing the sun, and then catch up to Uranus. This week is all about trying to integrate and not be all over the place. But meanwhile, Saturn is, it's at that nth degree of Pluto and Capricorn, and it's even exacerbated worse by Ceres, our other dwarf planet. Chiron is a centaur. Ceres and Eris are dwarf planets, as well as Pluto. But Ceres is about protecting humanity and animals and food and women and all the cycles that we go through in our lives with our reproductive system. Ceres hitting up against Pluto is bringing all this to the forefront. So I'm here to say, please stock up on food that can be stored for a long time. Like quinoa is a complete protein of its own. It doesn't really taste like a lot, but you can put things in it to make it taste more. It's not terribly filling, but I don't know of anyone who's ever had any allergies or food intolerances to it. But I mix it with pinto beans, and you can put all kinds of other things in it to make it more filling. But whatever you do, that one would be good to stock up on. Because, if this all does go through, if he is inaugurated, then what happens is, it's already started, like the process. That's the problem I started to say, is that Biden has kind of, made it all okay, and there are these transition teams. All it took was Biden to accept the peaceful transfer of power, which of course he was going to do, because otherwise it's just like being like Trump. But then again, he's king now. Thanks to Scrotus, he's king. Couldn't he be king for a day and say, no, we're going to investigate this, there's something wrong? But he didn't, and I don't know what was the right thing to do. I can't say, because I'm not in his shoes. I don't want to put the man down in any way, because he's done so much for us. But the real issue is that there was already a transition team going into place, and so Trump kind of has the keys already with that transition team that he's building, and you can bet Stephen Miller's on it. You can bet. I don't know how long Steve Bannon will be able to stay out of prison, but you can bet he's in there. So November 19th, when Pluto hits 0 degrees of Aquarius, I'm not expecting it to all be sunshine, and I'm not here to blow sunshine up your woohoo, you know what I mean? I'm here to tell you there is a dark side to Aquarius. It's bigotry. It's completely disconnected from the heart, because the opposite of Leo. But Leo has its dark side too, which is narcissism and my will, my way. We heard it. Or I saw it in the written word through Nick Fuentes. So if we allow this stuff to happen, it's not going to be a good thing. Pluto in Aquarius is the human resistance, the fight for humanity. Neptune in Pisces with Saturn, the government, can be mass deportation. That is exactly what everyone's feeling politically today. On another level, people may be wanting to numb out and use drugs, or maybe it's Jack Daniels in the morning instead of coffee. I don't know. I mean, I see the memes out there and I'm like, oh, crap. Yeah, because Piscean energy can be all over the place and won't take self-responsibility. On the light side, we can tap into our compassion, our sensitive selves, our intuitive selves, and we can connect with source energy, and we can send that light out, right? We can use our hearts. We can, with Mars in Leo, we can use that energy, move that energy from our heart center and our core and send that out. I do believe that prayers work, but we also need action. So there's that. So Pluto in Aquarius, we have to be careful. There can be AI issues. There can be hacking. There can be, like I was saying with Neptune and Pisces, there can be mass deportations. The dark side of Pluto in Aquarius, and when Pluto moves into the first degree of its sign, and it's already gone in there a little bit, and we did feel a little lighter, but wasn't really. Now it'll be in there to stay, right? On November 19th. And if you think back, if you can remember 2008 when Pluto moved into Capricorn, and we had, because Capricorn ruling banks and money and Wall Street, all that stuff, we had stock market crash. We had the Great Recession, and we learned, are our banks too big to fail? Right? There was the whole rescue plan and all of that. So with Pluto, when it hits 0 degree, November 19th, 0 degree of Aquarius, I expect it to bring to light the darkness of Aquarius. So I want you to hold on and not, not be terribly in fear, but we always have to think about the people. It's the people in the country over the people that want to be in power. But, the orange clown is, he's got the keys again. It's like giving drunk uncle or your, demented grandfather the keys to your car and expecting everything to go okay when he's wasted and he's driving your car. Pluto in Aquarius can bring through bigots, racists, sexist, homophobic people. Again, detached from the heart. And then we have to have the courage over here to hold the space in our heart and believe in love. The love is always there. Our angels and guides are always there. The universe is within you. The quantum law of physics that says, energy doesn't dissipate, it just transforms into something. That's in the nucleus of every cell of your body, that divine spark. You don't have to look for it out there, it's within. So we need to tap into that and be pioneers to true independence and autonomy in service to humanity. So that's the backdrop of what's coming up for the week. Okay, so now let me change this to hours and go forward. I want to show you this other chart here, or this other lineup. Let's go to 11. It actually happened at 10:26 a.m., as you can see here. But notice how Venus is now in Capricorn. So, we remember that Venus is all about unity and harmony. It can persuade and seduce. It makes comparison values, sometimes can be very indulging because it wants gratification. In relationships, it can be about being popular and having a lot of pleasure. And, it has to do with our self-worth. But if people don't really have self-worth, they go towards money. So, yeah. I have a feeling Nick Fuentes doesn't get a lot of action, and that's why he thinks he can own women now. So anyway, okay. When Venus is in Capricorn, our attitudes towards women can change. And I don't like this. Venus in Capricorn is really, really good if you have a lot of integrity and you vote with your dollars and you start thinking about your future in terms of integrity, because it's all about integrity. We're all going to die someday. What is the hill you will go down on? If you died tomorrow, would you be proud of yourself? Would you know that you did the best that you could by what you put out into the world? I don't think Nick Fuentes could, or Elon Musk. We certainly know Donald John Trump is a rapist and a felon. So I'm hoping that there are a lot of women that might wake up and go, you know what? I won't even say it because I'm probably in trouble already. Venus in Capricorn is now, notice the square to Neptune. Here, let's go ahead and go to the, I think it's probably a good idea to stay with the tight orbs now. It's coming in, well, it was already there. It's a waning orb, but the square's already, it's still there. The moon is getting tighter to Neptune. A lot of people will be confused. And especially women will be like, okay, where am I safe? What do I do to be safe? Right? If you're in all those, well, actually, unless you live in a state where the state of the Constitution of the state, because of the Dobbs decision, Roe v. Wade has gone back to the states. If you live in a state where they have codified it into their Constitution that abortion is legal, if you don't live in one of those states, you are not safe. And even if you don't care because you're not going to have children anymore, well, unless you've already had a hysterectomy and you're sure you won't have any trouble with your ovaries, then, Because the doctors have left those states. They can't practice. OBGYNs cannot practice. And like I've been saying for a long time, women will die. They have been dying, and now it'll be worse if he actually gets back in. If he gets it, if he makes it through to the inauguration, gets back in, whoa, we've got a battle. So, again, I mean, are there that many men on the planet that hate women? Are there that many women on the planet that hate, or on the planet, in the United States, I should say? Are there that many women that hate themselves? Something's wrong. This doesn't make sense to me. So, there's that. Mercury square Saturn is a real problem too, because Mercury's in Sag, where we want to speak up and speak out, but Saturn's over here, and now we're afraid. The square to Saturn. Saturn being the government, we're afraid of being gaslighted and victimized, and there's that. How do we form a resistance, which is what Pluto in Aquarius is going to be all about? It already is, but, November 19th, it's going to be even stronger. We're going to have lots of courage. We're going to be thinking about the future. Pluto in Aquarius, Aquarius period, is all about thinking about the future. Uranus is all about thinking about the future. It's the change agent. It's revolutionary. It's progressive. And it can also be really, really opinionated. So what do we do? How do we manage this, right? Is the thing, and be safe. How do you continue to grow when you have massive tariffs coming through? I mean, the big corporations are already they're already jacking up their prices or they're getting ready to, because they have to make up for the tariffs that they have to pay. And, everybody is like, okay, here we go. You just lost a bunch of your dollars, but no, and you can bet you're going to be losing more. And you can, if he gets in, and you can bet that he's going to give more tax cuts to the billionaires, like they need it. $1 billion is 1,000 million. What would you do with 700 million? Would you need $700 million to live out your life? Does anybody need $1 billion to live out their lives comfortably and happily? With this sesquisquare here coming off the sun to the north node, we have detours. We have problems with continuing on with the plan that we had in the past. And in order to move forward in our independence and existence, the North Node in Aries existence, we have to think again. We have to dig deep in Scorpio. We have to confront the crisis that is before us and figure out a way in secret to regenerate. We have to go deep, because it's not anymore just the fear of betrayal. The betrayal has already happened. And again, the yod, the finger of fate going on here. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Tuesday. Tuesday, we have Mercury again in the exact square. You could see it there from Monday, but it exacts at 5:22 a.m. on Tuesday. So we're still under it. We're still under it. We're under the decisions and the challenges that the squares bring. And they're obstacles and maybe a call to action, to hold the center. Saturn and Pisces can be all about our spiritual foundation. But what is Mercury, the messenger in Sag, telling us? Well, Sag has to do with our belief system. It's ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter's down here in Gemini. You can see an approaching opposition going on. Okay. The polarity between Gemini and Sag is lies versus truth. And you have to trust your own morals. You don't need anybody else to tell you what's right. You don't need religion to tell you what's right. Nobody needs any religious text or patriotic dogma to tell you what is right. What is right is to be kind to others and want the best things for them that you want for yourself. You want to be treated fairly and equally? Well, treat them fairly and equally too. So there's that. That's coming in. This is, building up all week. And then the sun with the N conjunct to Chiron, there you go. There's, we're on that one leg of the yod. So the sun has now moved to 20 degrees, of course. Now we're firmly in the deepening and blooming phase, but deepening into what with Scorpio? Are we refining to stave off from crisis? Or are we enhancing life in a harmonious way? But it's still, Scorpio's about conflict. We don't mind fighting when, there's I have Saturn in Scorpio. I know what it's like. You can only push me so far. And then I'm done. Right? Scorpio can be about transformation of the self. And then redefining your opportunities because you really know who you are and what you stand for. Now, on the dark side of Scorpio, we're talking energy vampires. We're talking some people that just suck the life force out of you, and they just, not thinking at all about you, right? And so they destroy opportunities to work because nobody wants to play with you, right? You don't want to play when when the person takes all your toys and runs off, or they sit there and complain about all their problems and they want you to fix it for them. And maybe you have in the past or tried to help them and it just doesn't work. So there's that. Okay. With the quincunx over to Chiron. So remember, the quincunx is an adjustment. It's a feeling that something's off. And the sun is the spotlight that's shining that, yeah, something's off. Now what are we going to do about it? Because there's an adjustment that has to be made. Otherwise, it's just, things are niggling, however you want to say that. Or sometimes, especially with the sun, it's something that comes in, it's like, oh, okay, you've got my attention, and now you have to do something about it. Because again, it's coming up against your existence, your survival. Aries can be all about survival. And it could be somebody that's very daring and asserting coming at you, and you have to stand up for yourself. Remember, Aries ruled by Mars. Mars can go into battle. Scorpio and Mars, The old ruler of Scorpio was Mars. I go with the newer, if you discover a planet, you should use it. So I go with Pluto for Scorpio. But anyway, Mars fighting for what's right. All I can say is the best thing about anything to do with Aries, and especially when it comes to Chiron, is, and I know I've said this before, but it bears repeating, just don't abandon yourself. Don't impulsively abandon yourself because you're afraid of not belonging, or you're afraid of not being first, or you're afraid of being left out. Just let that stuff go and stay with yourself. Don't abandon yourself. But if somebody's coming at you, like you got an energy vampire over here, you put up your shield, you say no, you set a healthy boundary. Because again, like I said, well, I've been saying it for a long time, with the moon newly into Aries, it'll be easier today, but yesterday would be hard. We're talking boundaries for empaths. Empaths do not survive without strong, healthy boundaries. So you have to trust your body, you have to trust your guts, you have to trust all those spidey senses that are wide open. And you'll get the information on a need-to-know basis usually. And if you're anything like me, you will learn the hard way when you don't heed it. When you don't take, when you don't, you got the message. Your body told you something. The hair was going up on the back of your neck. Something was hurting. A knife was in your back. Something else was hurting, whatever it was, or you're nauseated. Suddenly not feeling nausea, that's usually bringing up old traumas. Or you're dizzy, and maybe the person that you're with is on drugs and they're trying to hide it. Things like that. If you don't trust those little, sudden beautiful pieces of guidance, then you'll learn the hard way. But you'll get it. It's okay. You'll get it. Learning the hard way, learning in hindsight is still learning. I don't think it's a mistake. It's just, it's there. So, okay. And then, so let's go with the moon today, newly into Aries, bumping up against the North Node. We are all, no matter how early you get up, the moon will be in Aries, and we will be feeling that we really want to go, be on our path, go in the direction that works best for us. But again, remember, trust your instincts, be willing to assert yourself, but don't push on others. Okay, sometimes there's too much push when there's Aries energy, newly into the sign. In the first decan of the sign, we're developing foundations. When bumping up against the North Node, we're also we're opposing the South Node. The South Node in Libra is relationships and peace and balance. If you come at a relationship from the wrong angle and you're forcing, or if there's any forcing current going out there, you're going to get the opposite. You're not going to get what you want, right? So be careful, but focus inward, stay present. That's the best way to use that energy today. And then as the moon approaches, so we've got, maybe 4 hours in here when the moon's exactly there. Then we also have the sesquisquare going on to the sun. So there will be an emotional type of a detour or a disruption to plans. So we need to be careful this morning. I have a real feeling that it's one of those get up and go mornings with all this fire here because of the moon trine Mars to Leo, or Mars in Leo, I should say. The moon to Mars in Leo. Leo in its best is creative self-expression. It's your identity. It's connected to sometimes to your children. Definitely courage. We want to be seen and heard and recognized and understood with Mars in, or the moon in Leo. But now with the connection coming from the moon, there's a double it's amplified. So, yeah, that's why I say be careful. Trines are supposed to be harmonious, but not always. Trines and sextiles, not always. I tend to see the trines as really fast-moving energy, and the sextiles as opportunities. So with the opportunity coming from Chiron to Jupiter in Gemini, it's to learn more about how you can serve humanity, how you can, especially, all of you, anyone out there that has Chiron natally in Aries, you're definitely of the age, well, I would think you would be. I would think you would be, somewhere between, I don't know, 40, 52, somewhere in there. I'd have to check back to look at the dates. But anybody born, I think, hold on, I might be able to give you that. I imagine you know your chart, but let's see. Yeah, I can give you these dates. If you were born between April 1st, 1968 through October 18th, 1968. Oh, no, that's when it returned to Pisces retrograde. Okay, so it's here. January 30th, so scrap those other dates, those other notes. Sorry. January 30th, 1969 through May 28th, 1976. Oh, no, and then it went into Taurus. Oh, crap. I'm not doing this right at all. Hold on. October 13th, 1976. Went back into March 28th. You know what? I'm just going to have to get you. When Chiron was in Aries, for sure April 1st, 1968, but then October 18th, 68, it went back into Pisces for a little bit. Okay, so that's, yeah. And then January 30th, 1969, until May 28th, 76, it was in Aries, but then it went into Taurus after that. And then a little while after it went back into Aries, October 13th, 1976. And because it retrograded until March 28th, 1977. So that's what I was thinking, is that 1976 to 1977 in there. But also January 30th, 1969 to May 28th. I think I'm right on that. If I'm wrong, if there's any other astrologer out there listening and I've screwed this up, please drop it in the comments. And because sometimes I get things wrong there, unless I go back, and which I'm not going to do. And I don't. Do I even have? No, I don't have my phone in here. So yeah. Okay. Anyway, when you're mature, when you're of age, with Chiron and Aries, at some point you will want to help other people be independent. You will have healed, because Chiron is, it's where we have our deepest wounding. But when we work through it, and by it being in Aries, working through it would be to belong to yourself, to not abandon yourself, to be independent, to trust your instincts, to dare to put yourself out there. But you have to be careful about invading other space as you go, because you can get so excited, right? We have to be careful about being impulsive. And then once you've got that down and you work through it and you can just be present, then you can be present with others and help them out. And I would think that there's a lot of Pluto in Libra people out there of the same age, Pluto in Virgo and Libra, that you would really jive with because of that polarity there. That can be a lot of fun. So yeah, okay, let's see. And the Jupiter in Gemini will help us with curiosity and learning more about having to or wanting to, and how to create more opportunities where we can create win-win situations with, that Aries-Libra polarity there. The little semi-square over here from the south node of the past in relationship-oriented Libra, but also justice and fairness and equality, Libra. Over to the Sun, shining a light, brings through some friction. Could bring through some indecision. Like, what do I do? Do I get into a different type of a profession? Whatever you can do. Well, maybe you don't do anything until the inauguration and see if he actually gets in. If he gets in, we are all going to need to make adjustments to protect ourselves and those that we love and to protect each other. Okay, Wednesday. The moon joins Chiron exactly at 6:48 a.m., which is what I have the chart set for. So 19 degrees, 55 minutes of Aries. So everything that I was just speaking to, we're all feeling. Okay. The aspects are the same here. We do have a trine now coming from the Sun over to Ceres. So now there's a spotlight shining on, because we're 7 degrees of separation here. Well, actually, almost 8, but okay, so anyway, there's an opportunity to start thinking even more deeply and acting in ways that will protect us in the future, because like I said, Ceres bumping up against Pluto, that might not be good for women, might not be good for food, and the things that we need. Ceres can be connected to grief and separation. So we have to be careful. And you need to know, where is this in your chart? What house does this come through in for you? Because that'll be the area of life that you're going to need to shore up your defenses, but also to be with integrity. Okay? Mercury with the semi-square over to Pluto in Capricorn, and Mercury in the second decan, we're still learning lessons about what do we believe in. That's the question. What do we believe in? Are we being told the truth? With the inconjunct coming from Venus to Mars, there's an adjustment, right? And with the moon over here, so the adjustment from here is about connecting with your heart and having the courage to go towards what you need to do to shore up your defenses, but also, and financially too. And then also, with the moon up against Chiron, it just, everything that I was talking about for yesterday, it's all, things are more amplified today, is all I can say. Things are more amplified. But again, there's still indecision here. Yeah. So let's go ahead and go to Thursday. Now we have the moon has crossed over Chiron and Eris, picked up some courage, and now it's in Taurus, and we don't want to be pushed. But there's all this quick moving energy. We're down here thinking, okay, what do I do to be secure? What principles do I hold faith in? But you don't want to be pushed. But we are in self-preservation mode. We're thinking about, right? And with the trine up to Venus, right there's that quick moving energy. The earth signs, neither one of these signs want to be pushed at all. Virgo will kind of go into fight, flight, or freeze, usually just freeze. Taurus will say, just try and push me. It's like having somebody tailgating you. Like, go ahead, idiot, rear end me, that kind of thing. That would be the Taurus person. Capricorn just wants things to work, wants things to be organized. You want to be focused on a goal. We're going to want to have a plan. We want to bring opportunities in. Structure. We want structure. So on the dark side with Venus in Capricorn, we're having to be careful about forms like like a rigid, dictatorial, controlling, manipulating abuser of resources and form, materialism. Some people are already planning, billionaires they're always thinking of ways, they make decisions based on, well, unless they're a cool billionaire, there's got to be some out there. Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. So, but anyway, there's that. And that brings up another thing. Here we go. Mercury ruling all of the, and Jupiter as well. And look how you can see the opposition building already. I mean, it's 5 degrees of separation here. No, actually, almost 4. So, that's an orb. This is an orb. But what we're talking here with Mercury to Jupiter, and especially Gemini to Sag, publications, print and digital. And they're wanting to survive, which is, why you had Jeff Bezos not endorsing Kamala. He lost a lot of subscribers. The Washington Post they lost a lot of subscribers over that. It's going to get worse. And they're going to do their best to survive because, to have a free and fair press, that's the first thing Trump's going to attack. Those attacks are already coming. They have been for a long time because he knows how to be a dictator. Remember, I can't prove it, but I believe he was Mussolini. So there's that. And things didn't end well for him. Meanwhile, he was talking, I think it was last week, it said something about how would Kamala like a firing squad or nine rifles pointed at her face? It's like, what? I bet he knows how that felt. If he has some remembrance to his past life. So anyway, with Mars and the inconjunct to Venus, we are going to start thinking more about how to control our own destiny. We're making those adjustments there. We are having to do whatever we have to do. So I want you to think about stocking up on food and water, and even if you can't buy very much at one time, just get a little bit extra every week. I believe we have to prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. So if you prepare for the worst, you're going to be able to relax more into it, or not into the awful thing that might happen or the things that may happen, but relax into your life, the structure of your life. And that's another thing too. If you're experiencing a lot of anxiety, create structure for yourself and stay in that structure as much as you can, and which means you'll have strong, healthy boundaries set up until you feel that you can kind of venture out of your comfort zone. And it's baby steps. That's how we heal. And I'm not going anywhere. We're all going to be, together in this. So there's that. And then with the moon square Mars, right off the bat this morning, like I'm saying, again, there's a lot we want to do, but we're thinking about what is the most important. We're getting our priorities straight here when the moon's in Taurus. And, there may be courage to speak up and speak out today. That may come. Yeah, we still have the little semi-square here from Mercury to Pluto. So yeah, let's go ahead and go to Friday. Friday, we have a lot going on. Saturn goes direct. I have this set for 4 a.m., but Saturn, let's go ahead. Let me go to, oh, it's already set for hours. What am I doing? So I need to go to 6:20. Well, I'll just do this. There we go. I went to 7. I think you're okay with that. Now you can see Saturn's direct. It's just stationing direct. It's not really moving. And this is all just an illusion with, the movements from the Earth that we're on. The planets don't really move backwards. It's us. It's our relationship with the orbit. So anyway, Saturn in Pisces now, when it's direct, because we have to remember Saturn has everything to do with our ambitions. It can be very prudent and very cautious and very serious and practical and disciplined and accepting our self-responsibility. But it can also, on the dark side, go into pessimism and negativity and a lack of faith and not believing in the higher forces, not believing in love anymore, not knowing that love is actually how the universe is hardwired and how we are hardwired. The love is always there. But the destructive side of Saturn can go into so much fear that some people are just mean. It's dog eat dog. They really believe in a dog eat dog world kind of a thing. Saturn is about testing. In Pisces, what are we testing again? Well, can we be self-responsible and try and take care of ourselves and those that we love? Or are we going to go into victimhood and just be all over the place and blaming everything outside of us when we have each other? If you guys need prayers for anything, you drop them in the comments. We love praying for everyone. So Saturn, it's our duty to try and master. So you want to look and see where Saturn landed in your chart when you were born, whatever house that's in. That's an area of your life that you will be mastering, learning to master your entire life. And you will be tested in those areas. Or that area, whatever that area is for you. Saturn is also our planet of law and order. It's a planet of karma, although I see all the planets as karmic, but definitely Saturn is karmic for sure. Usually has to do with our job. It definitely has to do with the government. It can be limiting, but we're thinking about long-term plans, right? And like I said before, that discipline that we need to try and, it can be very, we're, conservative in the sense of we're trying to conserve resources, right? We're focused on our careers. We're focused on having strong boundaries. We're ambitious. There's strength. Think of, metals that hold things together. And it's good for work. It's good for vocation. It's good for resilience. It's like the strong tree that, flexibility is good with trees too. But it's about the roots. It's always about the roots. Saturn is also, it's our planet about, rules the bones and all the connective tissue, knees and bones, and all the connective tissue in our bodies. So we might need more water. We might we might need to be careful with our feet, especially with Neptune in Pisces. Pisces rules the feet. So, if you like to dance, you might want to be extra careful. But, Saturn's been in Pisces for quite some time. This is the experience of having it for 3 years this time. Usually it only stays 2.5 years in one sign, but we have it for 3 years. And yeah, so we won't be done until May. I think, I can't remember what, if I remember right, it's close to my sister's birthday. So somewhere around the end of May in 2025, it'll move into Aries. And then, that'll be like that structure of a brand new beginning that can come in, and then we're mastering like how we can move on and move forward. So yeah. Okay, now let's go to the full moon. That comes in at 1:30. So, okay, p.m. So there, I have it at 2. And that puts us halfway there because it's joined with Uranus exactly at 3. I think it was 3:20. No, must have been 3:30 something. I screwed up, or it ran out. Couldn't fit any more in there. But anyway, the moon opposing the sun. We've got confrontation. We've got mirroring. We have mirroring that's intense. Remember, the sun at that 24th degree of Scorpio, we're in that blooming stage or going deep. It could be deeply transformational and blooming like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. And you come out from the rock or come out of our caves or whatever, because the moon's full. But in this late degree, at 24 degrees, we're talking, that real need to like not be stuck, not be pushed, to be we're in our self-preservation mode, really. And it's all about money and what we own and what we secure, what we feel secure with, and what are our liquid assets if we have any. That now doesn't mean your beer in your fridge. Bumping up against Uranus, there's an awakening. There's an awareness. There's something that can bring through liberation. We could be reinventing ourselves on the emotional level. We could be feeling much more courageous, because remember, there's courage here, but it's sometimes with the Scorpio-Taurus polarity, it has to do with female reproductive rights. There could be a sexual scandal that comes out. Right? Moon rules the public. Sun's over here shining a spotlight. Uranus can be shocking. I don't know if we can even be shocked anymore. I don't think we can. It'll just be like, oh yeah, well, sure, of course. We do have to be careful, though. Fact-checking things online is a really good idea before we put things out there, because it's easy to share things because they're funny, and then you go, oh, wait a minute, it's not true. But then again, we've all gone through it, like the couch man, right? Like Stephen Colbert says, because he's never denied it. Anyway, you catch my drift? Social media, lessons, shocks over here. But back to Uranus. Okay, so Uranus is our great awakener. It is our change agent. It rules astrology. It rules science. It rules AI and all technology, lasers, everything. We could have confrontations that lead to breakthroughs with the opposition, and the full moon, because Uranus, the sun actually, is now opposing Uranus. So there's that in tandem with the full moon. I can predict that something shocking is going to come out, but I can't say what it is because I don't know. Maybe you guys will get the guidance. One of the clues for us, though, Could have to do with women because we've got Venus squaring the nodes. And it could have to do with a relationship from the past. And it might change the direction of the future for women. There's that possibility. Or change the direction, on the dark side, change the direction for all of us because of the abuses to women and the abuses to food and the abuses to harmony and the abuses to financial institutions. So, yeah. I don't want to go fast and loose with my lips because I don't want to bring in any more fear than I think I've probably already instigated here. But I want you to be safe and I want you to be protected. So I'm just saying, it's like you got to have your go bag for earthquakes. You got to have some stored up water and extra food in the house, right? And if you're thinking of maybe buying like Christmas presents ahead of time because they'll be cheaper now, that's okay too. That's a good idea. So, okay, what else? With the full moon, you can always expect things to be up. It's like if you're an EMT or a firefighter or a doctor or a nurse, and you're working that night. If you're on shift, it's gonna be busier, even the night before and the day after, and we could say the whole Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But this is the fever pitch here. Okay, shocking. We do have to be careful. There could be internet issues. If you have some large project that involves uploads, get it done before the full moon. Or have plan B or something like that. Or you'll just do it after because there could be something that happens there for some people. Yeah. Especially with the square to the nodes there from Venus. Venus rules money. In Capricorn, we're talking security. So there's that. What else? Back to Uranus, I feel. This can be a catalyst of some type, an emotional catalyst that releases. The full moon can release energy. In Taurus, the energy would have to do with safety and security and things that you put value into, things that matter most. For a lot of you, I feel that this can be a breakthrough in empathing and psychic abilities with the sun in Scorpio. And in the body over here with the moon, full moon up against Uranus. That could be a really nice gift. But that's something we can all develop. But maybe we feel like developing it more with that full moon. Again, comes in exactly at 1:28 p.m. Friday, November 15th. So, yeah. Flashes of insight with Uranus and the moon. I like this. Those aha moments. You're driving along and all of a sudden, whoa, I never thought of that before. That's direct guidance. You're doing the dishes or the laundry and you're not thinking about anything, and maybe you suddenly get a song in your head that you don't even know what it is and you have to Google the lyrics. That's guidance. Ideas, songs, flashes of insight. Some people are very visual and you close your eyes and you get the image. Or it's that direct knowing just in your gut, in your core. Mars and Leo. And maybe it comes in, that communication. It's healing with Jupiter, healing communication. And now I don't know about it. I got to make a decision, but you don't know what the decision is. I suggest meditation if you need. Yeah. Okay. The other aspects are all the same. So let's go ahead and go to Saturday. So for Saturday, we still have the sun opposing Uranus. So those flashes of insights, possibly confrontations, possibly breakthroughs. They're there. All the other aspects are the same. The sun is now in conjunct to Eris. So there's a lot of courage here, but the courage has to do with digging your heels in. I think there's a plan here, and the courage to bring it through. Mars sextiling the moon. Now the moon has crossed over Gemini all the way and is now, crossed over Uranus all the way and is now in Gemini. So the mood is much lighter, much more curious. Gemini is all about questioning things and learning things, and it can be more, dualistic sometimes. The only challenging thing with Gemini is that sometimes it's hard to commit because maybe you're thinking you don't have all the information yet, and you're probably right. Again, with Gemini, we want to be seen we want to be understood. We want to be heard, listened to, and understood. We want to know that they heard us correctly. So if you're in a relationship with a Gemini, know that. It's good. That's good information. It's good to know. But traditionally, I would just say whenever the moon, for 2.5 days with the moon in Gemini, we are gathering information, and it's moving closer and closer to the conjunction with Jupiter. So, and we'll see that tomorrow, I think, or even later tonight. But so the deal is there. We're gathering information so that we can heal. We're gathering information so that we can grow. Jupiter brings in sometimes like optimism, and we're seeking something, usually with Jupiter. We're seeking, what do we believe in? Mercury's up here in Sag, and we're still trying to figure out what to believe in and what the truth is. Mercury it's not an exact opposition, but it's in orb, and it's stronger. The waxing on energy, the applying energy is stronger than the separating, waning energy. So again, truth versus lies. We're getting more and more curious. We really want to know what happened. Maybe all the votes are in by the time we get the moon conjunct Jupiter. Maybe by then all the states will be announcing that they have all the votes, and they're getting ready for presenting them to their electors. I think electors are chosen. Well, none of that happens until December anyway. So, yeah. What else? So yeah, let's just see how many hours it takes for the moon to get within orb. Let's see what time it is. We're already at 1 p.m. there. That's 10 degrees away. There's 8 degrees away at 5 p.m. Yeah. It could get curiouser and curiouser as the evening wears on. This can be a lot of talking, a lot of communication, a lot of gathering information. Okay, let's go to Sunday. Now we have the moon conjunct right there at, and the moon's opposing Mercury. So, yeah, the Mercury-Jupiter opposition. So now there's that confrontation between information and maybe that's TMI. This is all TMI to me. This is too much. It's too much. And this is at 4:41 a.m., first thing in the morning. but the information's out there. And then the exact conjunction to Jupiter happens at 6:07 a.m. So the moon to Jupiter, now that changes the flavor of, we're wanting information so that we can grow. We're thinking about new horizons. What do we have faith in? We're definitely thinking about the future when it comes to Jupiter. And we're learning more and more how to trust our wisdom. Jupiter's generosity. In Gemini, there will be a generous amount of information. The question is it truthful? Who do we want to listen to? Who do we believe? What are we saying? Do we believe ourselves? Or, if there's some people out there, they like to talk just to hear themselves, like to hear their own voice. With Mercury and the sesquisquare to Mars, again, the sesquisquare has to do with an unexpected detour or some plans that were made and now they have to be, there's a detour. There's just a detour. And so we're talking about it and trying to figure out how to act upon it with Mars and Leo. But the energy's moving. I think for sure, if we don't know sooner, I think for sure by this next Sunday we know all the votes and things are getting more serious. And we're thinking about the future big time. And we're talking about it with each other. But there's still, we're needing to make decisions, and I'm not totally seeing it there. We've got indecision galore here. In the morning, anyway. Yeah. And then, of course, with that sun opposing Uranus, there is that confrontation, and it's all about freedom, right? It's all about how do we reinvent ourselves if we can't do the thing we plan to do, which a lot of people will be thinking about those things. Because, what if you have products or you're offering products that with tariffs are going to go up so high that no one would be able to afford, you wouldn't even be able to afford to buy your, the goods that you need in order to create your product. So it's sad. To me, that's really sad. It doesn't have to be that way, but we're going through something for a while. Maybe, if you can, maybe it's just about putting something on the back burner for a while. And maybe that's what Venus in, of course, Venus gets, it moves closer or faster than that. It's only about two months in one sign. But like if you have to put something on the back burner for a whole year or so, I can't imagine, even if Trump gets inaugurated and gets in there, his health isn't going to hold out. But, if we're stuck with little J.D. Vance, he might be even more dangerous because he's young. And he's not, and not that I have any ageism going on here, but he's malleable. The dude doesn't know who he is. And he'll do whatever they tell him to do, and he'll say whatever they tell him to say. Because he doesn't have his own, he doesn't have his self. He doesn't know, he hasn't been through transits yet that, he would be going into, I think he's 39 or moving into 40. At 38, between 38 and 42, we get our Uranus opposing Uranus transit. So he's raring to go in some new direction, but he doesn't really know who he is yet because he hasn't gone through that. He hasn't even had his second Saturn return. So, or he hasn't had his Chiron return yet. because he's not even 50. Kamala was just so perfect. She is so perfect. She's so perfect for the role. Even if she couldn't do all the things that she wanted to do, she's so perfect for the role. And we've lost the Senate, and we may be losing the House. Maybe that's what we find out by the end of next week, or even tomorrow, you know. That is scary. But like I said, we're all in it together, but I'm not going to be blowing sunshine up your ass. I'm just going to be trying to help us get through this and forecast what the future looks like week by week, and further ahead, farther in distance. It's not really it's further. The further I can look, to keep you grounded in what may be coming up. So. Before I close up, I'll just say it looks to me like it's a time, if you start thinking on the big term or big picture, thinking long term, this is a time for thinking of ways to reinvent yourself, thinking of ways that, to have the courage to go for what you want. And it might not be the thing that you really, really want to do yet, but you can do it now. Maybe you're ready for something that you didn't. Maybe you're really, really ready for something that scares you, but you can do it. And maybe there are things that you can put on the back burner that will be perfect in a year from now. And other times it may be that there are things you can do in secret. With Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, they're secrets. Scorpio, secrets. Pluto has to do with secrets. Maybe there are lots of things that could be done under, I don't want to say undercover, but I don't know. Incognito, that's the word. Yeah. And be thinking, especially today, about those things, because Jupiter, if not anything, it's all about growth and expansion. So we're talking growth and expansion of the mind and learning new things. Anything to do with computers is always going to be helpful. Anything to do with communication with others, new languages is going to be helpful with Mercury and Sag and Jupiter and Gemini. Learning a new language. Yeah. But also focusing on the practical side. We have a stellium in Capricorn now. So, okay, well, that's all I have for this week. And as always, big, big hugs. Drop it in the comments if you need prayers for anything, if you're going through anxiety, or, if you need prayers for more abundance. We will be happy to send them. Okay, bye.